Good morning. Get some charts. I was a little surprised yesterday was kind of a go nowhere day. It started out like it was going to continue higher, and it fizzled out pretty quick, and then went nowhere. Pretty much, we can look at the intraday charts, but well, you could see here, spiders, started out to move up, failed to make the turn at the gap fill. There was a setup, it didn't trigger. Let's see here. Hard to see on a 24-hour chart, but in essence, it was right there when I mentioned in the room when that bottoming tail bar formed. It's one of my favorite events, meaning when you get a bar that breaks prior bar's lows and forms a bottoming tail bar, and it can happen on a gap reversal, but then it's got to trigger, the long above the highs, and that didn't happen. Grateful for that if it would have turned out to be a failed, but you never know. But yeah, it was just kind of a go nowhere day. Consolidation. There's a little more uncertainty as to the follow through. It's been a heck of a run off of the low. I think I've mentioned this in the letter over the weekend, probably 2 weekends, but more so last. And I don't have the statistics, but I think it's unprecedented that a market has fallen this much in such a short amount of time and recover the whole thing in such a short amount of time. Um, but things change. So at the moment, spiders are consolidating up near resistance. The red bar has been ignored for the moment. We're just marking time. Waiting maybe for the Nvidia news tomorrow after the close. Economic reports on Fridays, a little more confirmation. So it's just, I guess you have to consider it relatively normal after a run like this that things are going to slow down, maybe even pull back. We don't have evidence of that yet. So we're waiting patiently because we have no other choice but to patiently wait and look for other opportunities in stocks that um, may move. And so there are. And so things are pulling back here a little bit as I speak. You can see the cursor on the daily chart a little bit below yesterday's low in the middle of the range. You see this, I didn't change this from 180-minute chart. I guess I wanted to look further back um, at that time. Let's just change that. It's what we normally look at. And so we've got pivot highs and pivot lows. I mentioned this yesterday as to interpreting pivot highs and pivot lows. Besides them creating support and resistance, and we're using them for a trend, when we see pivot highs and pivot lows opposing each other, it's just another way of visually saying prices aren't going anywhere. It's just opposing forces of supply and demand are relatively close and they're just banging heads and not doing much. And I'm just looking at that 5-minute bar beginning to expand in range down there, but you know, looks like it's heading down to those pivot lows down there. And when you don't see too many pivot lows, that tells you that demand is strong. And at times you don't see any pivot lows, which means demand is incredibly strong, overcoming whatever the supply is. And at times you'll see prices advance and pivot highs and pivot lows are relatively close together. And that's what we refer to as a self-correcting uptrend. It always keeps you kind of second guessing, but the trend continues. So, rather than using esoteric types of analyses like, T lines and all the other things, all you need to do is look at the chart in a very simple way to interpret what's happening. Figuring out what's going to happen next becomes a little more difficult, but look, move up into a resistance area after that run. Common sense says it would make sense for things to slow down, and that's what's happening. And while things are dipping down here a little quicker on the 5-minute chart, there's no significant damage being done on these higher time frames. So we wait. SPX, as you would imagine, nothing was touched yesterday. Right? It was up here and down here. And so things get tighter. I think they decreased by about 30 strikes as prices went nowhere. And so now, as we saw on SPY, prices are down here, essentially in the middle of the range between the strikes. That's kind of tight, and this is in an uptrend. So I'm not so confident it won't go down, even though, I mean, go back up to that degree. Will it come down here? I think it's unlikely without any significant news coming. Um, I didn't check the news this morning. If there was anything of significance coming in the morning here. There's consumer confidence at 10 o'clock. I don't know how much of a market mover that is. News, yeah, yeah. There's no highlight. Usually the site that I use highlights it. Well, they got it bolded at 10 o'clock, so there's some significance there. You got some other stuff at 10 o'clock. Oh, nothing that should be too market moving. The significant news will be Thursday and Friday. Yeah. Okay. So other markets. So the semiconductors were weaker, and of course that put a drag on the Nasdaq 100. So far, it was able to get back above the 50 MA marginally. It's just sitting right there. As you know, institutions like to see prices above the 50 and the 50 above the 200 and so on. So they have that for now. And the strength of that move got above these pivots. It came up to resistance and it stalled. So far, just normal chopping around. Transports kind of went nowhere, trying to work its way up toward the top of the trading range. The Dow was the strongest, early in the morning. Everything else started to peter out. It continued, but turned into a topping tail by the end of the day. So it made a new all-time high intraday. And maybe that is a new all-time high, by a few points. Is eyeballing, this year. Looks like it could be. Looks like it could be. Anyway, not doing much of anything here. It's built up an area of support. There's an unfilled gap down here. Got to be aware of that. And, I would say bring an alert there at 41,000. It's a whole number. It's the middle of that bar. It's in the area of the, here it's minor support on the 65-minute. I think that's a good level to be aware of, that if it was to come down there, give or take, maybe it hits the pivot, buyers would show up. However, I will say with a pattern like this, ideally, it will never get down to the bottom of that wide range bar. No, it come down into this area. Buyers should be willing to pick it back up again. And if they don't, that's valuable information. Interest rates, 10-year, it's up a little bit, nothing of great significance. It's in a downtrend. It's just chopping around here. I guess waiting for September. We got another week to go in this month. Friday's the end of the month. And then, of course, naturally comes the beginning of another month. So we've got the seasonal end of month, beginning of the month, bullish tendencies based on money's just coming in mindlessly to the markets, putting it to work. And we'll see. And then we get into the exciting September month. And just take a look at this 13-week. Did it move? It's moving down a little bit. It's below 5%. So of some interest, the confidence grows, in the Fed doing that rate cut. It's almost a given. It's going to be that quarter of a point. Maybe they surprise or not. And Bitcoin just marking time still. We looked at that yesterday. You can see the trading range, just overall a mess. Gold not doing anything here. Everything pretty much marking time. Financials were strong. I'll take a peek at them in a minute. They were strong. They gave back some yesterday. Silver not doing anything. Crude oil, that had a good day. And you look at USO, that, gapped up, and that helped some of the oil stocks that have been all over the place. There's patterns that I'd rather just stay away from, less predictable. Probably good for credit spreads if there's premium. That's the one good thing about credit spreads. It's like if everything is directionless and it's just a freaking mess, if you like credit spreads, that's credit spread heaven. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So you want to come into MT Live. Um, yeah, XLF, we look at that. It gave it back, but a new all-time high. Topping tail, no big deal. 1 bar. Um, with interest rates coming down, the home builders came back to life. I mean, they just been doing incredibly well. You know, after 2022, when the interest rates were going up, and then as they started coming down, I mean, they had their little nasty corrections there, as you can see here in October of last year, the pullback. So there's your September, October drop. And so as I'm looking at this and saying, oh, well, maybe that's a double top up there. Here was a little retest pattern. Maybe we'll see. But look, I can't say it enough. Over all the years I'm doing this, sometimes people laugh. Go ahead, Greg, say it. Look to the left because it's so consistent. I don't know. There's in anything I think that is more consistent in technical analysis than just looking to the left to where there's a pivot, where there's some congestion to where buyers will be. And with all the hocus pocus around different types of analysis tools to find support and resistance, it's kind of like a scam. I don't think these people are scammers. I think they believe in this stuff because they were just brainwashed early on as well. And, they just continue to use the same thing that they did. But, as you start to look at the facts, there's nothing more consistent than the simplicity of just looking to where buyers were before. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Why put that crap on your chart and get confused when it doesn't work, right? Biotech's coming to the top of the range, and mid caps. This was another catch-up trade. Mid caps, small caps. You know, transports. Bringing it on. Um, Internet, a little less so, but up at those pivots, so it's stalled there. Um, Retailing isn't doing much of anything here. I just happened to be poking through some charts this morning and decided to, what, I wonder what Macy's is doing. As growing up as a kid, there was always, the Thanksgiving parade and different holidays. And as Macy's was like, wow, especially if you lived in New York, as I did. And it's just something, somebody should buy it. I don't know. You just see this kind of things falling apart. Things change. Anyway, uh, energy, kind of flipped back up after that nasty bar there. The dollar looked like it was heading down to the support level, and it's almost there. So we wait for some news. Nvidia should be exciting, and there's others. There's quite a bit other uh, earnings reports coming out besides Nvidia, but Nvidia is, the big boy, and it'll be a market mover for sure. All yours, Dan.
Oh, good morning. Happy to be back with my 6 monitors. We were quite active yesterday, and we did start putting on some more bearish positions, and those are the alarms I have going off pre-market, all in our favor. Let's take a look at those. So alarms here, Airbnb. This is in the weekend letters, are short. we are already got a call spread on. Looks good. SMCI call spread. Oh, that thing just kerplunked. Wow. I missed that. Look at that. Closed at 562. You know what? With that kerplunk, let's close 5-minute high. Give it a few minutes for the options to close. I mean the spreads to tighten. And Alex, I'm not sure if you're still in that. I know you were shorting the thing yesterday. Nice morning gift. All right. Meta, we did a call spread. We can let our, it's a beautiful setup. This was an M top, new high plus at major resistance and a price void. And it was relative weakness to the market and other things. So I tightened the stop on that. Qs we put on last Friday went against us a little bit yesterday, which gave us an opportunity to add. There'd be an arm. We put on a call spread yesterday. WDC, we bought puts into the close. On relative strength bottoming pattern, like this little KLG we've been in since this little 1, 2, 3 over here. And then we added yesterday on the 180. That looks fantastic. I'll be looking to add again today because with the market down, I mean, it's showing relative strength pre-market right here too. Earnings. Let's see if there's anything, and then just go to my big watch list. BMO 8650. So Don, I know you've been liking these gap and craps. This is not a good gap and crap because it's not far from the 20. But still, anything that goes up 20 bars into earnings and either gaps up, down, sideways, and takes out a 30-minute low, it means it implies an exhaustion short term. So if there's any juice at this 90 level, at the 200 would be a call spread. BNS, gapping down, but holding. See that this one's different than the other one. This one is still strong. It plowed through here, had bullish consolidation, bullish weekly, bullish monthly, gapping down, buyers stepped up. You see the difference of BNS and BMO? And Alex Sam will probably say no, because they're both in Canada. So what's the difference? No, this is gapping down, piece of garbage. Rex. I see one print up here, but come back maybe 30-minute high. This would have been a good long had it gapped over yesterday's high, 46.80. Now it's a call spread if there's any juice. $87. Oh, that's a big gap. No, that's a big ugly gap. I'd say, my bias is 30-minute high or low. I'll put that in a window of their computer. AMWB. Hershey was not earnings, but it got a downgrade, bearish gap. That's a call spread idea. I think I looked there. There was no juice at 200, and there's sure as heck not going to be any with now with the gapping down that much. So I'm going to delete you. HEI, I see one gap here, 241 and change, no pattern. Except maybe a condor. If there's any juice at 250 and 2 1/4, that's an idea. So this is the best one, and it's actually a long bottoming pattern, Climo, sideways, gap over red bar, stabilizing. Now it's gap, man, the gap's too big. If this were gapping a 44, I'd say buy 10-minute high and 30-minute high. Because then my target would be 47. But if my target's 47 and it's 46 1/4, but I have it here in the bottom right. Well, now Lily, there was some news. I've been watching this for a call spread. Look, this is a total picture of slowing momentum, greater than 100% retracement with a void. So this call spread watch, 30-minute low. Arm, we already talked about. We have a call spread open already. I got a big old list. Let's just carry over watch list. Tiva, we're already in. We have long calls. Disney, I have an alarm. I like that it's gapping down now. So I set an alarm at 91.70. SWKS, it was in the weekend letter. It's still good if it gets over that high. That's alarm 109.50. Because then it'll be even better. It's going to be a little inside red bar ignored. I've, it is a 1, 2, 3, but see all these overlapping bars. I just don't know what the target would be. So GNRC is a 1, 2. Now this one's better because this is more fluid. My alarm did go off pre-market. It's holding relative strength with it gapping up. I'm going to set an alarm 158. Hut was a 1, 2, 3, but now with the pre-market weakness, I don't like the retracement anymore. So I'm going to keep my alarm, but I'm going to cancel this as a long, but my alarm is still there. Cancel this in the spreadsheet. Hut, Riot, bottoming pattern, but Hut was a better pattern, and now this is down, so I'm not going to worry about it. APD looks great. We're long the stock from yesterday. So that looks fantastic. Nice bullish gap, multi-week turn. Airbnb we know about. Aggo. Bottoming pattern could bounce for a day or two. RCL is a beautiful 1, 2, 3. Particularly with it gapping down. I mean, think of the recovery this has to do for it to trigger. It's gapping down under all this entire resistance on the 15-minute chart. And now it would have to blast through all that to take out these highs. That would be a great setup. Sipper is a cousin of COPX, but this looks great if we want another copper trade. I'm gonna set an alarm. This is kind of slow mover. How about 2666? G that we talked about looks great. Hood is also a 1, 2, 3, but it has two problems. Number one, monster move already. Number two, look at all these overlapping bars. So I'm going to delete that. PDT got creamed yesterday. I like watching things that get creamed, particularly if Wall Street likes them. Nothing to do now. PXCM, I have an alarm, bottoming pattern. Set it at 7450 on the computer. RCL we know about. Day, we're in trail mode. We sold half yesterday with a tight stop. Um, let me make sure I got my stop. 58.68 on day. Oh, no. 68, 40. WDC low alarm, nice. Those are puts we bought yesterday. W whiskey is a 1, 2, 3 and a downtrend, but let's see. I love my 15-minute. I mean, I love these four time frames. Like, I got more time frames on my big computer. I got the 65 and I got the 240 also. But I'm going to set an alarm at 45 based on that 15-minute. If it clears all that, then I will be looking for a put spread enough to start. And then a possible directional target 50 MA. Not marrying the things, just traders. 1 to 3 day trade. A lab, a bottoming pattern. I say this one's not ready, but it's still worth watching. Labita. This would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3 if we get it, which means we need an inside bar tonight. Blink. It's a 1, 2, 3. I call it a minor one just because yesterday was higher. Same thing. Let's set an alarm at 1955. This looks like a Sam IM trade. Party City. Wide range breakout. Looks great. That also would be far marvelous if we get a 1, 2, 3. SDIG. I know Sam, we talked about at the stop. CFLT is a short under these lows. WDC we know about. Nice gap down. Let's move stop break even on the long puts. And then move stop 30-minute high. What's going on? Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, love it. Shouldn't trigger. So my alarm's gonna be 1386. Yeah, the alarm's going off here. Um, RBA, I'm waiting. Oh no, RBA, we're taking our monies. This is a Sam I am trade. Nice job. We've been in that for 6 trading days now. That we only have a half lot. That was a beautiful, very easy to manage. Builder, we did a put spread, a deep retracement. And not coincidentally, but the Home Depot alarm went off too. Uh, where are you, Builder? So we'll just set a new alarm. Depot alarm. That one's okay because it's staying in the upper 50%. These are early alarms. Mr. We put spread same, it's right at the 50%, but early alarm. This is, Bitcoin's a little weaker. Core alarm. That's an early alarm, but you can add over last week's high. Looks great. Let me set an alarm 8:52. VSTS alarms on Alex already. Now this will be a good 30-minute high. Let's see this. I don't need WDC. I've got it in the other computer. So let's put that there. TCOM. Gap's too big for me as of now. WDC. I'm gonna give him the weakest here.
It had the biggest gap down. Got plenty of room to fall.
Hey, that's a recent IPO. Let's buy 30-minute high. Really nowhere else to move for the stop now. Eight, EMA. Four alarm.
Yeah, I just got it.
Looks great. Catch up trade. Middle. You can either buy the stop. I mean, we're already in the 7.5 calls long, but so either one's fine. All right, this day. All right, day stopped out. We have a tight stop there. So we're at a day in RBA and trail mode. Q's new low here, so I'm careful on new longs. I got a bearish bias on the Q's. I said 30-minute low, or maybe even now. You could start nibbling short, long puts. RBA. Okay, 98. All right, those are both good trades. VIX rising, AD get down under negative 1100, not bouncing. XLU high alarm, Greg. Oh, that must be old. Yeah, that was an old alert on my since I was gone. So I'll just reset them. AMWD, there's nothing to do. WDC is fine. ARM is fine. ARM actually 30-minute low could be a swing short now. We have the call spread. Bravo Kilo up alarm. Wow. Yeah, bank's holding well. I immediately looked up at XLF. Yeah, look at Burger King go. Let's move stuff about here.